Hello, Gunner James 105. So this video is similar to a previous video I did. I may have done two already, I'm not sure. I did a video a while back, gun show finds. And I know that there are others out there that do that sort of thing, that theme. And so these are basically what I'm going to do this video on, are recent acquisitions, you might call it. And it's over some months, but I'm not going to do detailed videos on a lot of these items. They just go into the collection as part of my display, part of my collection. This particular item, one of my sergeants, when I was in the artillery, I've been meeting up with recently, and he happens to be a gunsmith, and I see him at a lot of the gun shows. Pretty much every gun show I go to locally, he's there. And I had told him about a 25 pounder shell casing that I had, and I did that. There was a video previous gun show finds that I had shown this 25 pounder shell casing, and it's World War II, and it was really nice. And so I was looking for a projectile for that. I wanted a projectile to go with the 25 pounder shell casing. In the meantime, I had come up with it was an ammo box, a metal ammo box for the 25 pounder rounds. So I had that. The shell casing just needed a projectile. While this sergeant told me that another sergeant that was also there when I was in, quite a bit senior in age to us, he supposedly had a 25 pounder projectile. So things changed in that the sergeant that I talked to about getting one of those had a 25 pounder that it was an actual gun that they were trying to make ready for Remembrance Day ceremonies last year, and they wanted my shell casing because they wanted to be able to fire a blank on Remembrance Day. So they wanted my shell casing, and so part of the deal was that they would go get the projectile, which now, okay, so now I'm going to have a projectile without a shell casing. Okay, fine. So I meet up with them, and apparently that other sergeant didn't have what he thought he had. He did not have this projectile, but he had this, which is really, really cool. This would be a British, I believe, because British train out here in Alberta, and this would be an illuminating round. So this would be shot out of a 81 millimeter mortar and come down on a parachute. It would be a big flare. Now, it's quite heavy. It's got a timed, or a fuse that you can set a time on and all that. Now, the way the story goes is, I was told, don't mess with things. As far as I know, it's inert, but maybe it's not. And so recently I was at a antique sale, or antique store, and I saw one of these, a lot rougher condition, a lot of rust, but it did not have this, and it was labeled as inert. So I don't know. I'm sure that he would. I mean, there's quite a gouge in here. I'm sure it must be, but am I 100% sure? Well, I had something else for years and years I was not sure on, but turned out it was definitely an inert round. So I have that. A bit of a long story, but looks like it would be somewhere around possibly October of '88. And so we'll move on to the next item. And this was from a friend of mine who had he offered this up to me a few times, and then finally I agreed. Okay, well, I'll take it off your hands then if you need the money that bad. It wasn't even that much money. I don't know what it was, $40. And as far as I can tell, I mean, it's a tank periscope. So it's periscope M13, and I believe it could have been used on a Sherman tank. I think the M6 was the earlier version, very similar to this, and it works. So this thing works. It's quite heavy, but it does look like if I if I dropped it on the cement floor, it would shatter into a million pieces. So got that, and looks like a very simple, lock into position onto a little bracket and tighten her down, and away you go. So that's pretty cool, I thought. Anyways, I mean, these are not uncommon. They're not that hard to find. I don't know why there's so many out there, but there is. So I'll set that aside. And there again, well, this is maybe a week ago, I come across this. And this would be a Canadian. And it would be the 64 pattern. So the type of hookup, we've now gone to Velcro. So this would be ahead of the pattern that I had, the 82 pattern. But there's your belt fastening, and it's in really good shape. There's a name on the bottom. It's kind of hard to make out. Could be Dutch. Looks like a Dutch name, and it's got the unit or whatever on the bottom. And so with it comes the I was impressed because it came with this this Canteen. Now that's not what impressed me, but it's got 1982 on there. So this is the type I had when I was in 82 pattern. And but it also came with this nice cup. And the cup's in really good condition, and has no problem. You could use this. That clicks in there, nice as can be. But I've got on here the maker, so we've got CME, and it looks like June of 1957, so 657. And in case you didn't know, it says Canteen cup. It's Canteen cup. So this was cheap enough as well. So that was another find. And then just there again, about 2 weeks ago I got this. And I do have a it's actually a 49 pattern officers. It's very similar to the cut or the style or the type of World War II anyways. This uniform I have, I'm about 100% finished except for the boots. But this is a map case, and so you can see that I believe that's 1943 on there. I'm holding it properly. And everything works. These are a bit stiff, or at least one of them is. But that would allow access to, and I've just found some old pencils to stick in there. Some old pencils, and then I cleaned up that cover. This is a map that was taken from a book, one of those books that has the little pouches, and you know, every so often in the book there's a pouch with what would be replicas of actual items. It could be letters, could be maps, and in this case it's a map, and this would be Saint Mary Glees. So this would be like a D-Day type map. So I stuck that in there. I can always put it back in the book if I need to, but yeah, there was just something that I thought would make it a little more authentic looking. But it's in very nice condition. The you know, the straps and everything are all there, and I like the very clear markings on there. Brass is a little green, so I might clean that up. I don't see anything wrong with cleaning up that. You know, I mean, sometimes I can spread and then kind of get gross on things. So there's that. And then another item, which, and these are all just recent. So this is a sandbag. Now I was trying to do a display with a Bren that I have. I haven't done a video on that. I've got a Bren with a tripod, and so I was getting my wife to sew these gunny sacks that I had. I cut the gunny sacks, and she was sewing these, and we were filling them with this kind of foam beads. Well, I don't know. It's not the best. It does work, but these are actual these are actual ready-made, ready-to-go gunny sacks, or sorry, sandbags with the tie. And so I found this in the store, and there was a bunch of them in a basket. It was a kind of a military surplus store. And when I went to get a price on it, the guy said, "Well, you can have that." And I said, "Well, I'd like to have a whole bunch, please." I wanted at least 12 of them. So then he decided, well, it'd be $2 each. So I got a whole bunch. So it'll better go with my, or help my display. And I'm thinking maybe I can use real sand in a sandbag that you get for winter, that you throw in your trunk for traction in the winter. Whether that sandbag is first then placed in a green garbage bag and tied off just to keep the moisture and whatever contained, and sand and all that sort of thing, and then we'll have more of the, but it might be too big for this, so I'll have to see what I do. You know, some actual sand in a plastic bag. The form of the bag would be more correct, so we'll see what we do. And then this, again, within the last couple weeks, I knew it was probably British, and I think this is the 100% virgin wool. I'm not sure. Most of the Canadian stuff is that it would be like this, but this Balaclava, which has the full face opening, and so it was cheap. It was like $10, and it's like new. It's in beautiful condition, and so there is this tag on the inside, which this company, that is a British company, and so just exactly what era. I'm thinking it's fairly recent, but it's in really good condition. I have seen, if you've not watched any of the Colditz, the old 1972, 73 or whatever, 74 Colditz series, you should watch that, and you can watch that on YouTube. It was an awesome show that I used to watch with my dad when it was first out, and now you're able to see it on YouTube. But I remember a lot of the prisoners that were escaping, or not escaping, but they were wearing something very, very similar. So this style goes back to World War II for sure. There may be just little differences in the weave. I think the World War II one had a coarser weave like that. And so got that. One more thing before the final thing. So the second last thing is this pouch, I believe, is an Italian Beretta, like a 92 FS or F handgun. So this would be its purpose. But it was being sold with this, and this holster's like brand new. So is this. So this is a Polish, its designation, I don't even know, I didn't look it up, but you can see the Radom or Radom, the factory marking there. Well, camera. The number 11 in this oval, and then we've got a date of 1957, and then just simply the serial number. So this flare gun, no, I just better see if I can grab one of these. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this would be the type. This would be the type of flare. This would be a green one, and so it would normally shoot this. And I think I probably could shoot this out of it, but I don't want to because I only have a couple or three of these. This is from 1967, and so what they did though is that, and as this one here, I mean, I swear it's never been used. It's in beautiful, beautiful condition. But what they did was they, along with this, came with this bag. So it's a bag of flares, and so what you got was this insert. So the insert allows you then. Yeah, so there we go. So there's your insert. Allows you to fire these 12 gauge, more common 12 gauge. You know, so if I close that now, I'm ready to fire. So let's be careful and not do that. So basically, yeah, you're going to caulk and bam, there goes your flare. What I thought was neat, I just brought this out for comparison. I've had this for a number of years. This is, of course, the TT33 Tokrev, but this one happens to be the Polish version. So there's your 11 in the oval, and this one happens to be a 1950. But it was the type of grips that were so similar, or so your Tokrev handgun that it's been out, was out for a long time. This is beautiful. This is not a recent pickup, as I say, but this just thought I'd show you the similarities on the grip. Oh, and there's one more item that before the final item. I'm getting into black powder shooting. I've got a rifle and a revolver, and for the rifle, if I'm doing the patching material, I need a knife to cut that patch off. And not like I can't get a knife from anywhere, but I happen to see this somewhere on in YouTube land or whatever. And so this is the Opinel, and it comes it comes from France, or it's made in France, and that's carbon steel. So the way it works is you've got a lock. You open that, and that like so, and then you close that, and you're ready for battle. So very good steel, very sharp knife, and I just thought that was a neat little deal. And gosh, if I paid $15 for that, I'm not sure, but that was one item. So the last item was today. So I was into the antique store today, same store that I bought the Canteen in, and I got this this M1 helmet, and got a very good deal on it as well. Very good deal. So just before making the video, I thought, well, it'd be nice if I could provide some information. Now the sad thing is, well, sad I guess, it'd be nice to have a liner. I don't have a liner yet. I'll come across one somewhere. I went on eBay just to look, and my goodness, the liners are far and few between, and they're very expensive. But this one here happens to be early World War II or prior, just prior or early. I know this because of the some identifying marks. There's right here is what they would call a heat stamp. So I don't think you're going to be able to make it out, but there is right here. There's a 357C. It's very finely marked in there. It's not a thick marking, but 357C shows up there. So that's one of the things that tells us this is probably what they called it's McCord Radiator made these shells, and then having the front seam. So that tells us it was made somewhere prior to, or most of them I think were 41 to 43 that they had this front seam on here, and so the chin straps too with this kind of olive drab and the brass tell us that it's an early one. And then they have what you would call the fixed bail. So that's not on a swivel at all. It's just tack welded there. So you've got that, and then you've got that. I think it was like a stainless band, so that would wear off and shine like the dickens. This one's not bad overall. And so the only thing, there's a slight crack in here. Other than that, there isn't a dent anywhere. There's a bit of rust and on the inside, but all in all, quite happy with the deal I made. So I'll find a liner somewhere someday, somehow, and I'll let you know how that worked out. So for now, that's some of the recent items. Hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.